It is The Lowdown with Lorenzo Alexander. We do it every Friday at 2 p.m. The Lowdown brought to you by Hutch's, redefining city dining. John Murphy, Steve Tasker, and Lorenzo Alexander. Zoe in studio with us. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. Been a good week of practice. Battling a little congestion, though. But other than that, everything is good, ready to go.
Is everybody coming today and talk about last night's fight? Is that how the day begins here early this morning? Players?
Yeah, well, I woke up to a couple of texts. Like, did you see what happened? My wife ended up texting me once I got to work, and I know it was kind of like the talk within at breakfast and in the training room. So, yeah, it was kind of the topic of the day.
Did you? Wait, I'm trying not to laugh. Did your wife shake her finger and say, "Don't you be doing that"? Right? Because I know I would get a text from my mom or my wife and say, if I get you doing that.
Right. Yeah. No, she didn't say that. She just said, "Did you see it?" But she in the back, she knows I'm not that crazy. I'm crazy, but not that crazy.
And that's the thing too. You probably. Maybe not so much in your career, but maybe early in your career. But fights like happen in training camp and all that. That's me. And I said this earlier in the show. That's like one step beyond what you usually see. You see guys rip helmets off and all that, but the next step is to swing it. It's one step beyond what we're used to seeing, and it's interesting to see where the league will draw the line and how big they draw this line with what they do to Myles Garrett.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, obviously it was an egregious act as far as having the helmet in his hand and hitting Mason Rudolph. You've seen the other guys get fined. My whole thing and the big thing is that Mason Rudolph didn't get any sort of punishment yet either. I think everybody should be suspended and fined, because obviously he was on the ground pulling his helmet off as well, actually got up and chased after him, and then while he was on the ground, actually kicked him in his groin as well. So I think everybody should be fined so that there's no he did that. Everybody should suffer some type of consequence. Obviously Myles Garrett's was just way past the line once he swung and hit him in the head.
There is a report out there that Rudolph will be fined. We'll see if that comes about. And the league said there are additional further discipline for other players forthcoming. I wonder, and you play, it's a violent game, Lorenzo, and you've excelled at it for more than a decade now. How do you know when to stop? I mean, you're playing hard. You're trying to hit people. I'm not saying you're trying to hurt people, but you're trying to, inflict punishment on ball carriers, quarterbacks, receivers. How do you find the line and say, well, nope, can't do that. That's over the top.
I don't know by the grace of God.
Right? It can't be easy all the time.
It depends. Sometimes it would have been great if some of his teammates could have got to him before he actually swung the helmet, but none of his teammates are in the picture at all. So that's what sometimes saves a guy, when one of your teammates can kind of come at least get in between you and the other guy, or is holding you to, or holding the other guy back. That has saved me a couple of times, but that's really only the saving grace because you see nothing but red.
Right.
And it's fight or flight, and in most cases, guys are going to fight, and whatever they have in their hands or not in their hands, that's what they're going to swing. They really don't care.
I was having this conversation with some of the guys in the control room earlier today about what some of the stuff I've seen in my career when I came into the league back in the other century, and when the light switch goes in training camp, particularly, you're going two a days. A little bit, everybody's exhausted and frustrated, and guys will start to get really frustrated when they really suspect they may not make the team. Mm-hmm. So there's that level of and it turns into a cage match in a heartbeat. I mean, it's a death match, and unless you got guys there to stop it, and they kind of everybody gets in a group hug and everybody freezes them. They won't let them pull anymore. For a minute, it's a death match.
Yeah.
Until everybody takes a deep breath and it's like, "Hey, sorry, bro." It really is that fast.
It's that fast, right? Yeah. If he had like 4 or 5 extra seconds to kind of calm down before Mason got in there, he probably wouldn't have done it. But it happened so quick, and none of his teammates were around. Just lost it and swung.
Yeah, the lid comes off.
Yeah.
Steve, run your scenario by Lorenzo, if you would, about.
Here's what I thought. It was a missed opportunity, and you saw Freddie Kitchens and Mike Tomlin talking a little bit, what was going on, because everybody was out there.
Right.
I thought it was an interesting, and what do you think would have happened? Could it have happened when Freddie Kitchens talked to Mike Tomlin, maybe after the game in the post-game handshake or whatever, say, "Listen, Mike, I'm going to bring Myles to your locker room to apologize. Prepare your guys."
Right.
That would have happened without incident, I think.
You saying there wouldn't have been any suspensions or anything?
No. I'm talking about there wouldn't have been a fight in the Pittsburgh locker room if Myles, if Freddie Kitchens leads his guy by the hand into Pittsburgh's locker room to apologize, and Mike prepares his guys for it, saying, "Guys, I want you to shut up and listen to what he has to say." there would have been some tension.
There would have been tension. They would have done it out of respect
Right.
for Tomlin. They probably wouldn't have done anything to him.
In fact, it would have diffused a little bit if Myles would have held it the right way and said,
Right.
"Hey guys, it was my bad."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's a missed opportunity by Freddie to diffuse the whole thing, and it would have gone a long way towards.
Yeah, but at that point, I mean, all the damage was done.
Sure, but I think it would have been a thing for.
And I don't even know
somebody
if
need
Myles
to.
was probably, he might not even been in the headspace to apologize at that time. I mean, he might have still been hot about all that transpired on the field.
What Mason Rudolph and all the stuff that
right.
escalated. To that point.
And then when he had time to get home, think about it, maybe watch it on film, maybe he had a little bit more time to kind of calm down. Because, I mean, it was only 5 seconds left in the game, so it wasn't that much time from getting into
Right.
the locker room after the incident.
Right.
With Lorenzo Alexander, Bills linebacker, and all of the incidents last night make this news from yesterday even more important, I think, Lorenzo. You are the Bills nominee, one of 32 player nominees for the 6th annual Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award, presented each year to an NFL player who best demonstrates the qualities of on-field sportsmanship, including fair play, respect for the game and opponents, and integrity in competition. Congratulations for that.
No, I appreciate
You've
it.
been nominated for that before?
I believe so. I believe last year as well.
Well, yeah, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you, especially maybe in light of what happened last night?
I mean, obviously, it's a real cool honor. I mean, I don't know if I uphold that all the time, but I try to do it 95% of the time.
I'm looking for a confession. We don't need a confession here.
But, it's a real cool honor to be obviously acknowledged like that, just by the way I play the game, playing it hard, right up against that line, the way the game is supposed to play, while doing it in a way that is respectful and classy to our opponents as well as our teammates.
Well, congratulations on
Yeah.
that nomination.
Drew Brees won it
it's
last
a nice
year.
list to be on.
Yeah.
Your teammate now, Frank Gore, won it a couple years
Right,
ago.
yeah.
So it is big, and I hope it's not just a salute, a household name superstar, right? I hope they look around and see who the real sportsmen are.
Yeah, I think they definitely do.
Good.
Yeah, and the guys around the league that get notarized for it is awesome. It's a
That'll be
huge
announced
honor.
at the NFL Honor Show Saturday, February 1st on Fox TV. Really, congratulations for that.
Yeah, congratulations on that happening this week. One other thing that did happen this week is word got out that, by Josh Allen came out and said that Coach Sean McDermott said, "Hey, wants you guys to play fearless."
Right.
How did that play in the locker room? What was the vibe coming out of that? How did he deliver that message?
It was really because I think it was Monday he came in and just talking to guys about everything, about what happened obviously in the game, and really coming from a more of a positive feedback, encouragement, finding solutions versus pointing the fingers of what guys aren't doing. And it really came down to 3 things for us. It was about being more physical on the line of scrimmage, executing. Obviously, whatever defense or offense, not having pre-snap penalties, not having holding penalties or pass interference. And then at the end of it, it was play with no conscience or feelers, as we're saying. And it's really just playing fast and free. Obviously through the week, you watch a lot of film, you get the game plan. But when you go out on the field sometimes, you could think about, or some guys can, you play not to make a mistake instead of playing to make a play. And I think sometimes you can see it, especially when things go bad, you can kind of see that in some young players at times. And so he just wanted to reiterate, obviously coaches are going to coach, but sometimes you have to be able to block out that noise and just go out there and play free. And when you come to the sideline, I'm going to make the corrections and just continue to try to improve and get better. We're not going to dog you for making a mistake because they happen in games. So he just want to make sure guys aren't out there playing tight, because when you play tight, it leads to mistakes just by what your mindset is on. You're thinking about not making the mistake, and you end up making it because you're not thinking about making the play.
I asked Coach McDermott in a conversation I had with him briefly at the end of this week about that, and why he felt the need to do that. And he said, the season is so long, and during the course of a season, it's not like guys are making conscious decisions to worry about mistakes, but the season changes, every game changes, right? Everybody's approach to the game changes as you move through the long season.
Yeah, things happen. I mean, good and bad. And sometimes you can get on a roll where you have just great confidence and you're just playing lights out. You're not thinking about anything. Or as a season happens, adversity happens in everybody's season, whether it's in a game or throughout the entire season, where bad things happen and you can't get out of the funk. You're trying to correct things and you're like, man, I'm just playing tight. Like for us with the run game, now everybody's very stagnant and just sitting there, being in their gaps and not moving, not being playmakers, which is why you get guys on your team to be playmakers, not just to sit. Anybody can sit there on the line and just stay in their gap. But when that happens, you just don't play free and flow. It's it's kind of hard to explain, but when you're playing loose, you just end up making plays downhill. You see things, you communicate, and you're not worried about messing up.
We had your teammate, your talkative teammate, Matt Milano, on the show with us yesterday. But we asked, he's talking about the issues against the run the last 4 or 5 games now. He thinks it's big chunk runs and not necessarily a constant barrage of little runs.
I would agree with that. When we've given up the run, it's been 20, 25 yarders or big screens, big plays that just what happened on that? So
those count too.
They do, but it's different. For me, it's different. It feels a lot worse when a team methodically works their way down the field, running 4, 5, 6, 7, versus a big chunk run. Oh, somebody missed a tackle, or somebody was out of their gap on that one play. But if it consistently happens, like back-to-back plays as they work down the field, that's it's just the physicality, the way they dominate the line of scrimmage. It feels worse as a defender.
So your run defense, there's a couple of things about your defense. It continues to play extremely well. Even the close loss last week to Cleveland, your defense, run defense, okay, once in a while you get gashed. But the bottom line is you're tough to score on still.
Right.
And one of the things that I think could help you, and talk about how patient you have to be waiting for turnovers to happen and how you can make them happen. Does playing fearless maybe lead to more of those, or possibly, or is that part of the mindset?
And we had a couple of opportunities. I had a play on the sideline. It would have been probably a great interception, probably a top 10er. But when you have those opportunities, being able to catch the ball. Tre'Davious and Mike Jordan Poyer run into each other when we had an interception. So we had our opportunities.
Went right off Tre'Davious' face mask. Yeah.
Right, because Jordan was breaking on the ball because it was 2 men, had a great break and doesn't see him because he's zeroed on the ball. So it's just taking advantage of the ones that we have the opportunity to get. But sometimes you can go too far as affecting your tackling, like being the only guy there and you trying to strip the ball out while the guys continue to gather yak. So you have to, be conscious about tackling. If you're the second or third man coming in, and I thought some guys did a great job of it last week of just trying to punch and trying to get it out, and eventually they come. They normally come in bunches, but you just have to be mindful of it, and I think guys are for the most part.
With Lorenzo Alexander, Buffalo linebacker, going to talk about his lowdown for the game and what he thinks the Bills need to do to win this game against Miami. But if you can just put your NFLPA cap on for a second here and talk to me about your thoughts of what's being called a breakthrough in terms of negotiations for a new CBA. They think they might get it done by the Super Bowl, and they're talking about how likely it is to have a 17-game regular season. What do you think?
Who's talking about that?
It was reported in the Washington Post this week.
By the NFLPA or the NFL?
Probably the NFL.
Oh, okay. I don't know any. I haven't been in the meeting. I'm on the executive committee. So as far as that goes, we're still making sure our guys are preparing for a work stoppage. Because talks won't be able to get picked up until after the season. Because I think majority of our guys, if not all of them, are on the NFL roster. I think 2 aren't right now, and there's no time to meet. So they've met with, our president, and that's about it. Some talks here and there, but nothing to where it's close of being signed.
You don't have any ideas on a 17-game schedule? You don't want to talk about that? Or?
Do I have an idea on
Do you
the 17?
think it's a good idea?
No, I don't. I think I voiced that before. I mean, the game is already hard enough. You add another game, that's more of an impact on my body, moving forward in the younger guys' bodies. I mean, so what other concessions are they making outside of that, from a medical standpoint, from the way the split of the money's made up, because they're investing in it. But at this point, the NFL is the NFL. It's going to grow. It's about, the players out there that are actually making all that happen and why people are tuning in and why people want a 17th game. And so for me, it all comes back to equitability, everything being even. And that is going to be the fight.
Right. You sound like you're gearing up for the fight already. I admire this.
You have to have that mindset because in their mind, I mean, they're going to try to keep on to what they have, and we want more, essentially, because we feel like we bring half of the value, if not more of the value, because of what we do. Value. Right. I mean, we are what people come, why people want to build new stadiums, why people pack it out, why all these TV dollars, why people want to have their eyes on it. It's us at this point. I understand back in the day when people had to make an investment and they didn't quite know what the NFL was going to be. You know what the NFL is going to be. You got people knocking down the door trying to be owners. Yeah. And they're not letting nobody in because they want to keep it tight-knit. So don't
You
try
are
to,
ready to go.
So
Let's
don't try
start
to fool me. You know, I'm just saying, just be real. Don't try to make it seem like you're doing all this hard work. No, you're not. It's the NFL. To run the NFL is easy. You can throw a whole bunch of ideas out there, and 90% of them are going to make money because people love the game of football because of the players.
You
and
are
what they
ready to
bring.
go. Negotiation can start tomorrow for
That's right.
Lorenzo. You're right. You're ready.
Well, we've been negotiating, but obviously before the season, but not in that sense.
One of the things that's also on the docket this weekend that's probably off your guys' radar, although you've probably had conversations in the locker room with all the guys, Colin Kaepernick's getting a workout with all the NFL teams down in Atlanta. What are the players thinking about that at this point? I know you got in the middle of the season, lots going on, but certainly you guys have got a thought about it.
Well, I don't know if there's been a huge conversation piece. I mean, obviously it's a little unconventional, and you look on Twitter and people are wondering why it's not on Tuesday. I think he thought it was going to be on a Tuesday. You know, for me, I'm like, you have an opportunity, whether it's ideal or not. Most of the time, it's not ideal for most guys. I mean, I know we've had some workouts here on a Tuesday where guys are out there at 7 a.m. in the morning, 8 a.m. in the morning working out, and they might have flown from the West Coast. That's not ideal workout. So you have an opportunity. Hopefully, all 32 teams show up and give you an opportunity to showcase your talent. But I can't. Beggars can't be choosers. So he has an opportunity. Hopefully he shows up and has a great workout.
Lorenzo Alexander with us for the lowdown. The Bills in Miami coming up Sunday. Your team beat the Dolphins by 10 a month ago. Are they much different than they were a month ago? I know they've won a couple times.
Yeah, I think they're a better team.
Are they?
Playing a little bit better football. From the standpoint of Fitz is in there now. I think they have a guy, obviously, that is seasoned. When Rosen was there, just not quite sure who he was yet. Young guy, really hadn't played much football, and the game plan was much different. Obviously, Fitz knows where he's going with the ball. He'll still give you a chance to, obviously intercept it or get a strike step fumble just because of how aggressive he is in his game plan. But guys, for whatever reason, and you probably saw it when you was here, they rally around him. Just the way he leads, the way he interacts with people play much better for him. And I think they have also some young guys now that have gotten 7, 8 games underneath their belt. A guy that I kind of know is Patrick Laird, the young running back for their team that's going to probably play a little bit more offense. He's gotten a lot better even on special teams. And I think that is kind of like their motive from, every position group. All those young guys that got reps, they're getting better. They understand football now. They're no longer considered technically rookies inside that room. The culture's maybe starting to set in a little bit, and they found a way to win. And so definitely a confident football team coming in.
Is there anything to the fact that they're past the trade deadline, nobody else is going to move? I mean, they were trading guys all the way through that first part of the season, all the way up through, and prominent players as well. There's got to be a little bit in their locker room where they're saying, okay, guys, this is our guys, let's go together. And of course, Fitz plays into that with his leadership.
Maybe. I mean, I think because a lot of the guys were obviously big name guys. That was a cultural shift thing. But still, if you are a 5th, 6th round or a young draft, those guys getting switched in and out every week too. So I just think their culture's getting set. They're getting comfortable with what they're being asked to do, and they've had a lot of reps. And so a young team, I think, as the season progresses, normally gets better. And you saw this in, like, Cleveland a couple of years where they had, like, 22 or something rookies playing a lot of reps. As the season went on, even though they played tough and got better, even though they might have shown on the win column, they got better as the season went on because they had more game reps. And I think that's why they're a better football team.
The lowdown are keys to the game. Lorenzo's keys to the game. What do you got? It starts up front, I guess, in your keys, huh?
Yes, attacking the line of scrimmage. I think sometimes, and I think I kind of mentioned this earlier, especially in the run game, you get so enamored about, hey, stay in your gap, to where you almost take one step and kind of sit at the line of scrimmage, where we really want our defensive line to be attack-oriented, up the field, and being disruptive. I can think about Kyle Williams last year when he was here playing the 3 technique. Sometimes he would get reached or scooped, but he was 3 or 4 yards in the backfield, making that running back either not be able to cut back or making him bubble. And I think when you're more disruptive, even if you may be out of your gap, because the linebackers can make the defensive lineman right, I think that's a more productive way of playing football.
And you've got, you want to play on their side of the line of scrimmage on defense particularly.
Exactly,
right?
because sometimes when you set the line of scrimmage, them guys can knock you back. You get in the linebacker's way a little bit, and they can't flow and help you out. And so that's what it's all about. Just play an attack, be aggressive. That's the way football should be played on this side of the ball. And
on the other side of the ball, of course, for the offense and Josh Allen, all those guys, you want to finish their drives with TDs.
Yeah, obviously the more points we score, the better it is for us. It allows defensively for us to pin our ears back and gets great confidence for the offense, because I think we have the ability to do some good things. We move the ball oftentimes and stall for whatever reason, whether it's a pre-snap penalty or holding. So just execution. from start to finish to really be able to finish off some drives, put some points on the board, as I know we can do because we have the talent out there. And that's just really going to help us stay off the field and create confidence. And obviously, once I don't think Miami's a team that's built to play from behind.
Yeah. Key number 3, lowdown number 3. You talked about it in the Cleveland game. You have chances for takeaways. You got to make those.
Right. Yeah, just taking advantage of the opportunities. I think that's probably one of our biggest things right now that we're missing out on, especially when we're playing in tight games, is changing the dynamic with some turnovers. Obviously, we had that big goal line stand, but it'd be great to be able to put some points on the board and give our offense an opportunity with a short field so they don't have to drive the ball 80 yards. They can maybe drive the ball 40 yards and score a touchdown. That'll definitely help as well in that category.
Bring the Gatorade right out here. You are concerned, and I'm sure the whole team is ready to be hydrated, right, for warmer temperatures?
Yeah, it's going to be warmer, most definitely. I think it's going to be like a 50-degree, swing for us, which I'll love. I mean, I'll be able to get out there, run around, and feel fresh. Yeah, versus
you don't have
it's
to
cold.
bundle up, man.
Not at all. I don't have to wear sweats and all that just to get a good sweat in before the game. I can get loose and be ready to fly around. So it's going to be great for these old bones.
Yeah, that's fun. That's
Good luck.
Stuff.
Thanks.
Good luck, Lorenzo.
Yeah, I
Stay in one
appreciate
piece,
you guys.
bro.
Yep.
Lorenzo Alexander joining us for the Lowdown. It is brought to you by Hutch's. The Lowdown brought to you by Hutch's, redefining city dining. Steve and I coming back. One Bills Live from the Seneca studio in Orchard Park on Buffalo Bills Radio.